Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's going to go now.
Wait. Yeah, it starts in 8 minutes, right?
Yeah. You leaving now or are you leaving an hour?
No, I'm leaving now.
Now,
Oh,
all right.
okay.
So that changed.
So that changed. All right.
So
All right.
you can slide over here.
I will do that.
Michael, here's what I want to do.
Okay.
I want you in on the whole show,
Okay.
and 4 times an hour or whatever it ends up being. I don't want to underpromise and overdeliver, and I don't want to disappoint you. But like when we're coming into a break and out of a break, I want to ask you, all right, where's a cool place to travel to? And what's a travel tip I need to know? Give me something I need to know when I get on an airplane. So you're going to get exposure for your business over a 2-hour period rather than an 18 or 16-minute segment.
Yes, you're
Okay.
generous. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you, but I that's the best way to serve you. Because part of that motivation comes from, what the heck am I going to talk about travel for 12 minutes? Except to tell people I hate to travel,
I'll put those in your fingertips so you got that there anyway.
right?
Yeah.
I hate to travel. I'm a bad person to talk about travel.
I'm learning.
have-
I'm learning from you, man.
I have, my wife and I bought our current home, in December 11 years ago. And I have slept in somebody else's bed 4 times. And it's not because of a lack of, my wife loves to travel, and it's not because of a lack of funding. I just really don't like to travel. I'm kind of weird. I don't mind, I'm not afraid of flying, I'm not claustrophobic, I'm not a germaphobe. I'm everything added together, I think.
So I don't need a headset then, I just have the mic?
You'll need a headset if you want to hear,
Somebody
if
call.
you want to hear
Yeah,
what they say.
I'd like to do that, yeah.
Yeah, so right there.
Yeah.
Headphone,
Right. Right.
got that part figured out.
Yeah. Today is Craig Hutchison's birthday.
I saw that. Does he listen?
Yeah, he does.
Well, let's make sure we say something to him. Does he still run like a delivery truck or something?
I don't even know. I'd have to look and see it on Facebook if it says.
Oh, I had to ask that. Guy wants me to. Oh, Craig Hutchison mentioned you on Facebook. I called, assume you're getting ready. Vid station is 1. Saturday at 2.
Say your name is Mike.
Mike.
Scoot down towards the end a little bit more
Yeah, I will.
so I can get you and Bob more in the shot.
He doesn't say anything about what he, on his Facebook page, what he does.
What he does? Well, then let's make it up. You know me.
Yeah. Trying to think of what can we make him?
Mike Nieland.
He is a Martian who has been, what was the story yesterday?
He shot the pastor because he thought he was an amphibian. Oh, is that it? Amphibian?
Yes.
Crazy.
Heaven help us, huh?
Yeah. You heard about that. Yeah, I gotta make my sounds off. Okay. Yeah, I've been to the Creation Museum. We drove out there with my son in 2009.
Yeah, pretty incredible museum,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's Nieland. It's Nieland. Land. It's a good German name, and I learned a long time ago. Nieland. A good German name. 2 vowels together, you pronounce the second vowel. I'm sure there's exceptions like everything else, but
Let's see, you put your name.
got it.
What's the key? K-E.
It'd be Mike.
It's Mike Nieland.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No relation to Kevin Nieland, right?
Not. He's a K-N-E, I think.
Oh.
No, he's just N-E-E-L-A-N, I think. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We got a couple of minutes.
Boy, my latest blog is getting a ton of.
People of Earth, we come in peace.
Welcome to this neighborhood, neighbor.
I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Max World Live. Max World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Max World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Max World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, good afternoon. 3:07 on the 10th day of December, 10th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is the Thursday edition of Max World Live. Lots of stuff going on. Chris Roloff will be here. He's currently doing his job, which he never does. I mean, he loves being on the radio. But boy, you ask him about, anything going on with the radio station, like, did the antenna get freeze on it last night with the cold temperatures? I don't know. Well, did we sell enough commercials yesterday to make your paycheck cash? I don't know. You want to come on the radio? Yeah. He's like a puppy. Can you see a puppy? Here, I want you to imagine, what was the dog? Droopy. Remember Droopy the dog in the cartoons, and he'd walk around and he'd go, I don't know. I don't remember him, the big floppy ears. And then think about, who's the character on Garfield that's always jumping up and down, the little Odin. But when you say, hey, Chris, you want to be on the radio? Okay, I want to be on the radio. Yeah. All right, so Frank is doing his best at producing today, although we need all the mics on, Frank. Thank you very much. See, if a producer failed to turn on Frank's mic, he'd be throwing tomatoes at the window. But Frank, no, you can get in. He's talking to his girlfriend on the phone or something like that. All right, one of my special guests who's going to be with us for the whole show today is Michael Nieland. Did I say that right?
You did. I can go by Mike if that works.
Okay. Mike is the owner of Blue Marble Journeys, and those are travel packages.
You bet, Mac. What I do is I offered faith-based travel trips, primarily Christian-based, here in the States and around the world, actually.
Yeah, and at the end of the show, we're going to ask you a secret question. And if you've been listening and you know the answer, you're going to win a round-trip ticket for 2 to Mars. No, I'm not serious. But I thought I'd offer it.
Yeah.
Because we'll be like the lottery. By the time I get that old to cash it in, they're not going to be around anymore. But what we're going to do during the day is we're just going to fill you in. Michael is a friend of the radio stations. He comes to a lot of our events, and he's got a good thing for Christians here. And are they all Christian tours, or can you do a secular one?
Primarily they're Christian. If you're going to go with me, you're going to get a faith-based, Christian-focused trip.
Right, I don't get 30 guys together and we go to Vegas and no, okay, good. So we're going to talk about some of the cool places to travel to and some of the packages that he has. And anyway, just give you an opportunity to learn some things. Now, if you got a question for Mike, for heaven's sakes, call us or text us. You can call us at 244-0077. That's 515-244-0077. You can also text us at the Service Legends text line at 515-809-0993. If you grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'll give you those numbers here in just a few minutes, as I ask you every day, put them in your phone, put them in your address book, whatever it is that you write down numbers in, do me a favor and do that. You can write down 99.3 The Truth. You can write down Mac's World. You can write down that guy with the big mouth on the radio. Whatever you write down, but I want you to have those two numbers. I want you to have the Truth text line from Service Legends at 515-809-0993. At any time, you can text us something. Standard rates apply, which means I don't think anybody pays for text anymore, do they? I don't think so. I think that's just a line they say. Yeah, I don't pay for text. Well, we have an unlimited package, though. Mm-hmm. My company does. What do you have? You have an unlimited package, probably?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So whatever rates you have would apply, but basically it's free. And then our studio line, it's your voice I want to hear, is 515-244-0077. And that's the number you can hear if you want Frank to answer the phone, and then you tell him what you want to talk about, and then we'll put you on the radio. And whatever we're talking about today, if you've got a question about travel, you can do it on the air and talk to Mike, or you can do it on the text, and he can answer you back there. Or I have no problem with you going into Frank's room over there and just talking to somebody privately. Maybe they have a question, but they don't want to, do it on the air.
Sure.
So that's what we're going to do today to kind of help you think about travel, because it's too late for spring break, obviously. But there's next year's spring break, or there's this Memorial Day, or there's this Labor Day, or there's this 4th of July, or there's simply your vacation this summer. How would you like to take you and the grandkids, or you and the kids, on a faith-based tour to, what's that place you were talking about? Neverland? No.
Oh, you mean the Creation Museum?
Creation Museum.
Yeah, or the Ark Experience. That's something that's not even open yet, but will be.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that later on as we go through. What about that thing that, Mike, what about that thing that the folks from Hobby Lobby do? The Green family does.
You bet. They're developing a new museum in the Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
The Bible Museum.
Bible Museum.
That opens up in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the one that they travel with now isn't something we go to?
It's a traveling exhibit. I'm not sure where it is right now, to tell you the truth. Last time I remembered, it was near Los Angeles.
Well, right. And then I tried to get it here. I tried to get it here for a period of time, and just beyond my pocketbooks. Mm-hmm. What they want for commitment and stuff. And we were going to bring a smaller version. I mean, they film 8,000 square feet, so they'll go into a Wells Fargo Arena or a Hy-Vee Hall for 3-6 weeks. I just wanted to get something out here at the mall, Merle Hay, and then because they've got a lot of open spaces, and just put them in there for a period of time. But I guess when they get done with one of those, they all go on vacation.
I suppose
For a while.
it sounds like it's going to be an incredible museum.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Well, excuse me. It's because the Green family has always collected religious artifacts. So this actually comes out of a family passion from the family that owns Hobby Lobby.
Okay.
All right, I'm losing my voice
It's
again.
okay. My next trip, by the way, is actually coming up in May. I'm taking a group to the Holy Land.
Oh, really?
And we're heading out May 5th through the 18th for 2 weeks. And starting out in Jordan and traveling through some of the biblical sites there, and then coming into Israel. I signed up 4 people this morning, so there's still room and there's still time. If someone's had their heart set on going to Israel, we can make that happen.
Isn't that one of extended tours? I mean, normally aren't the tours like about 10 days or so?
Well, that's a good point. It was sort of a God thing, how that developed. We were planning about 11, 12 days. And
Mike.
Yes.
Everything's a God
Oh,
thing.
absolutely.
Okay, just so you know.
Well, some people were planning the trip, and they said, we'd really like to go to Petra. I said, we could make that happen. There's some good things in Jordan, like Bethany beyond the Jordan, where John baptized Christ, and Mount Nebo, where Moses was shown the Promised Land. So it just sort of happened, and by the time we figured out airfare and schedules and such, it ended up being 2 weeks. So we're pretty excited about that.
All right. Can I just ask a tough question? I want to go to the Holy Land so bad. I've never been there. I had no interest until 5-6 years ago when Jesus mugged me. Now I would just be fascinated. I'd probably be in tears most of the time, but I'm scared.
Yeah, good. And a lot of people
I'm scared.
have that feeling. I'll tell just a brief story. In 2005, when my wife and I were some background noise. I like
we're
it.
Fine.
In 2005, when my wife and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary, we went to Alaska, and we were celebrating up there. And we weren't big cruise people, but we wanted to go see whales, so we booked a half-day cruise on a whale ship. And we were seated at a table with a couple from Israel. And the Lord knew where we needed to be, and we struck up a conversation, and we said, we'd really love to visit your country, but frankly, we're a little bit concerned. And they laughed, and we went, why are you laughing? And they said, we felt the same way about coming to the United States.
Really?
That kind of put the shoe on the other foot, and we talked more and talked about how secure and safe Israel is. Every country is going to have some issues now and then, but it seems like if it happens there, it makes world headlines. So I can attest that Israel is a very safe place the 3 or 4 times that I've been there already. And I tell people, I can't force your hand and make you go, but I can assure you that we'll do everything possible to make it a safe trip. Our inbound tour operator is bringing his 13-year-old son. I said, I'm bringing my wife. I don't think I would put her in harm's way, or he would be putting his 13-year-old son in harm's way if there were any questions. So that's what I usually tell people.
All right. Well, I just... You build up the biggest fears against things that are probably never going to happen, and that is the accuser just trying to keep you away from being as close to God as he possibly can. And I can't imagine being closer. Well, I guess I can. I've had the wonderful opportunity to feel God's presence in my life many times, if not hopefully most days. But there. Oh man, I just wow. I watched that it was downtown, the big fancy theater with a big curse
IMAX theater,
the Jerusalem.
Yeah, good movie.
I saw that and I was in tears, and my wife leaned over and said, "You'd really like that, wouldn't you?" I said, just to walk those streets and meet some of those people, and they had that thing where that family was having a dinner, and just to sit there and Anyway,
all
right.
It was pretty authentic. That was good.
All right, we're going to take our first break. I got a story to start out with today that you're going to be able to say only in Iowa. It's one of those stories. Like when you see pigs running down the street and they're running faster than the cops. Or when you're seeing a cow get milked or a lamb being born, and you say only in Iowa. Well, it's one of those stories, and we're going to do it when we come back. Live here on The Truth, 99.3 and Max World.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Minutes after 3 o'clock, 3:21, 10th day of March, Lord's Year 2016. Say hi to my lovely bride, CJ, at home today, recovering after surgery on Tuesday. You're such a trooper. You're my hero. Hang in there. God is healing you as you lay there. I know it's hard for you to be home. I know it's hard for you not to be at work. I know it's hard for you to be in pain. I know it's hard for that big, ugly old cask to lop around, but God gave you a great surgeon, and you are healing, and thanks for pharmaceuticals, you're not in that much pain.
Hang in there, Mrs. Mack.
Yep, I'll be home a little bit later, and if you need any chicken soup or anything, let me know. I've got such a good wife. I really do. All right. This is not a network show. And that's on purpose. I've been syndicated, hundreds of stations, satellite radio. It's not as much fun as talking to your home. I'd much rather be talking to people within 60 or 70 miles of Des Moines than I would be talking to people in Omaha. And one of the reasons I like to do that, I'm old school, I'm likely to report that Aunt May's bird has died and that the pop machine at the gas stations broke down. I'm likely to report that the legislature, by name, these legislators who I know personally, are doing this and that's wrong. And one of the best parts of our job is when somebody we know that we care about celebrates a special day, we get to call them out and tell them. And so somebody that now, Craig Hutchison came into my life in 1978.
Wow.
Yeah. When did he come into your life?
Oh, I don't know. I would say it was well, we kind of knew each other at First Assembly, and but I got to know him better when we met at his house and had Bible study.
Yeah. Well, Craig was a very good record disc jockey. That's what that means. And he and I worked at a station many, many moons ago. I mean, you'd have to be old to remember KMGK. And it was KIOA's First FM. Now, he later, KIOA 940 became KIOA 93.3. But Craig and I worked at the station called Magic, KMGK.
I remember that.
Yeah, you're old. Back in the day, rocking the rock. And, they always tell you that you should know a Christian, and you should know a guy's a Christian, and they never have to open their mouth. And Craig was that kind of guy. Craig was I shouldn't say always. That's not fair.
And maybe you should say is.
Is. What did I say?
Was.
Like he's dead?
Yeah.
He's alive?
Yeah.
He's alive?
He is.
I thought today's his birthday.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant it was the anniversary of his death. No, I knew that. I'm just kidding, Bob. And Bob and I know each other because of Craig.
That's right.
Because you were doing Soul Search with him on Webcast One Live when I first started it.
Right, downtown.
6-7 years ago.
Right.
And for whatever reason, he chose to not continue it.
Correct.
And I asked you to fill in for my guy who was gone for a little while. And luckily, you chose to stick around. And it's been one of the best relationships I've ever had with God. And I so appreciate you, Robert.
Well, thank you.
But so that's how we know with Craig. And after Jesus mugged me, Craig was one of the guys that stepped up and said, "It's about time." And I said, "What, you could tell that I wasn't really a Christian? I mean, that I wasn't okay with God?" And he said, "Are you kidding me? You are a crazy man." And so every once in a while, Craig honors me enough to call me up and tell me something that he didn't like on the show. And as I always say, when I was in the restaurant business, I said, if you like my cheeseburgers, that's great, but make sure you tell me when you don't. Because customers in radio and restaurants do the very same thing. We walk away and we never know why. We just walk away. We don't tell the manager that the food was bad. We don't tell the server. We don't call the owner. We just don't come back. But we tell people it was bad. Radio's the same way. They just shut off the radio. They just push the dial. They don't come back. They don't tell me, but they tell everybody else. I need to know when things are wrong because I actually can correct them then. And Craig is one of those guys that every once in a while, it's not often, I think he calls me every, 30 minutes to tell me something I can do better. But anyway, it's his. How old did you say he was today? 91?
Facebook says 60, but people tend to lie on Facebook.
Yeah, I think he's really in his 90s. Yeah, him and Methuselah.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any gray hair.
He doesn't? Yes, he does.
Are you sure? Look at the photo. Maybe it's an old one.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's an old one. I don't know. I'll look at it. Anyway, Craig, I don't know if you're listening, but we love you. Thank you for being a part of our lives. It's so cool how God used you to put Bob and I together. The other way you might know Craig is for years he bought time on cable. Right. Did the show Soul Search, and he had a puppet, right? Didn't he? I think he had a puppet.
Maybe he did. I mean, you have to
and then he
text us or something.
Then he would play Christian videos before there was ever any place that you could find Christian videos. There was no YouTube yet. There was no channel on TV that played them, and he would play that. I'm pretty sure he had a puppet.
Wasn't he on cable like 17, Channel 17? Because I remember seeing him on a keyboard. And,
yeah. He produced it in his own basement.
Yeah,
all himself. Anyway, maybe he'll call in and tell us what the puppets. Maybe it was a sock puppet. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting him and the woman mixed up who had Charlie Lamb Chop.
Sherry Lewis.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting Craig and Sherry because they're both about 90 years old, I think. All right, only in Des Moines. Only in Des Moines. Luckily, no one was hurt. And so I'm going to make fun of this. Because if someone was hurt, I obviously could not make fun of this because somebody was hurt. Now, there's going to be things that I tell you about that you're going to think I probably shouldn't be making fun of this, and that's okay. Let's just agree to disagree. Just decide right now that you're going to choose. You get to choose whether you're offended by something I say or not. I have no doubt that before I walk off this radio program today, I will say something offensive. I hope you choose not to take offense by it. Please don't take offense that I'm making fun of this story, but I think this is the funniest story in the world. One of the funniest stories ever. And it happened here in Des Moines. A half-naked man.
What?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. That's the best way to start a story if I ever heard one.
Yeah, it always starts out good when it starts out with a half-naked man.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there.
With a shotgun.
Uh-oh.
Pulled down his pants so a girl could see his package.
Uh-oh.
A half-naked man with a shotgun tried to force a 15-year-old East High School student into his car in Des Moines, on Des Moines' northeast side, according to the police. The girl said she was walking in a residential area near 24th and Washington at 7 p.m. You know, I'm always a little critical of kids that are out at 2, 3 a.m., and then we're supposed to feel sad when things happen. Bad things happen. Bad things happen after midnight. I know. I used to be out after midnight all the time.
And as Inspector Callahan said in a famous Dirty Harry movie, he didn't think he was collecting for the Red Cross.
That's right. So this 15-year-old girl was at East 24th in Washington at 7 p.m. I don't even know if it's dark at 7 p.m.
And dusky. It's a little dim.
This was yesterday when a man walked past her in the other direction. A few minutes later, the same man, who looked to be in his 20s with long brown hair and facial hair, pulled up in a red car and asked the girl how to get to East High School. But she kept walking with her head down, the girl told police. That's when the man suddenly stopped the car, opened the driver's door, and got out. His pants were down, and the girl could see his package. They say genitalia. I think package is a much lamer word. She started backing away, and the man reached and held a shotgun. "Get in my car. I don't want to have to use this," the man said, according to the report. The girl ran to the gas station where she called a friend to pick her up. She didn't see the man again, and he never actually touched her, the girl told police. No suspects have been identified, but the alleged crime could rise to the level of first-degree kidnapping, according to the report. If you have any information, call the Des Moines Police or the Central Iowa Crime Stoppers. Only in Iowa would the story start. A half-naked man with a shotgun jumped out of a car and tried to get a 15-year-old girl to get in his car by taking his pants down and showing his genitalia. Is that funny, or is it just me?
Well, it was funny until it got sad and gross and scary. I thought it was going to be fun. I came in here laughing, and I thought it'd be funny, but it wasn't funny.
But you don't think that's a funny story?
Well,
I guess
not. If it was my daughter, I'd be furious. He'd be found. I'd find him.
If it was my daughter, she would have come home with a trophy.
Well, that's what I was going to... I thought...
You did not mess with... My daughters are tougher than my sons.
That's kind of how I thought that story was going to go, that she was going to do something. And, that really goes to show if you have gals in your life, those self-defense classes are probably a pretty good idea.
Absolutely.
Because in that situation, other than the gun made that, but the regular pervert that just wants to flash somebody.
He jumped out of the car and showed his genitalia.
Kick.
And,
Swift
and then
kick.
she runs. I guess that does make it funny. I guess maybe I was wrong.
The shotgun made it very, very scary because it would have been very difficult for her to defend herself, and probably in that situation, she made the right decision. Running away was the right decision, because I think getting into an altercation with someone who has a weapon is a bad idea. Guns don't play nice. They're not. You're not on an equal footing when somebody has a shotgun and you don't. My name's Chris, by the way, and just the fact that I sound kind of goofy, it's still me. It's Chris.
And we haven't been sharing any coffee cups or anything, but we're both coming down with the same thing at the same time.
It's seasonal stuff. This time of the year, what it is for me is like I don't breathe real well at night, so I do the mouth hanging open thing, and I wake up and my throat just feels.
Have you ever tried? I used to use them.
Breathe Right?
Breathe Rights.
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, thank you for that. That's a good reminder. I have. And you know what else really helps? Now, this is going to sound...
A CPAP machine.
Well, you know what else really helps, actually? If you do those Breathe Right strips, which essentially just pull your nostrils kind of up.
Right.
But the other thing is, if you ever noticed, most, lavender is what I was going to say.
Oh,
If you know anybody who has lavender
essential oils.
The essential oils, what I do is I get a little bit of that lavender, and I've got a mustache, right? So I actually will just put a little bit of that lavender right in my mustache, those Breathe Right strips, and it really opens your lungs up. Lavender is natural. It naturally does that. It has something in it that opens up the little dealies in your lungs or whatever that is.
I'll give you another little thing that's kind of cute. Do you know why when you walk out of most restaurants, they have a mint there for you?
Because your breath probably smells bad?
That's what they want you to think. What does mint do to the digestive system?
Oh, yeah.
It settles it.
It does.
So if for some reason you've eaten at that restaurant and you've eaten something that is unsettling, they want to buy the fastest insurance they can to make sure you don't blame it on the restaurant. So they give you a mint. You suck on that mint goes down in your digestive system. Mint is a better purple pill than any pharmaceutical you could ever buy.
Especially peppermint, right? I mean, I guess there's different kinds of
I should have said peppermint.
Peppermint, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm an old guy, and I never knew that.
Yep, peppermint.
Oh, man. And if you know people have essential oils, if I'm not feeling good or I got a headache, hot water and peppermint, oh, yeah.
I do have some essential oils, but I'm not going to talk about it right now.
Okay, we're coming back. Mike Nieland with BlueMarbleJourneys.com is in the house. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about that creation museum that's open along with the tour of, did you hear about this? They're making an ark right down to the exact cubit. We're coming up live here.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee, what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Minutes before the top of the hour. 3:38, Salem Radio Network News at the top of the hour. And then, of course, it's us again. And we are going to be talking about some faith-based things today, along with a little bit later, I don't know. I've had more and more people. It's kind of interesting. I've had more and more people asking me what I'm going to do if Trump gets the nomination. And I say, well, before I give you my answer, I'm really curious to hear what your answer is to that. And you got to remember, when people ask you a question like that, they really want to tell you what their solution is. They really don't want to know what your solution is. Oh, they may want to know a little, but human nature is I want to tell you what I'm going to do.
Right.
And so I just get it out of the way and say, what are you going to do? And I've heard some amazing theories. Everything from God is not binary. Binary. He does not give us one or the other. He gives us how many choices? One. Him.
Yeah.
So not voting for Trump or not voting for Hillary, not voting doesn't have anything to do with your relationship with Jesus. It's just about your patriotism. And if you got to hold your nose to vote for somebody, then maybe your conscience is telling you not to vote for him. To the complete other side, that God wants to know who you think you would like best. He knows they both suck. He knows neither one of, if we're talking about the two candidates we're talking about, neither one of them walk with him. So he wants to know which one you'd prefer, because maybe he's going to call that person.
Well, he knows which one's going to hasten his return and which one is going to prolong it.
And do you think he wants it hastened or prolonged?
Well, it's said that the master's delay would be, his delay would be delayed, obviously. That's in the Bible a couple of times in parables. So clearly we know that his delay is, the virgins and the oil, etc. So he'll put in the person that either brings his coming near as he wants it, or if he wants some more time, he'll put in a bozo.
Well, we got a bozo with Obama.
The pastor Michael Mudloff, my pastor, the pastor of Westkirk Presbyterian Church online.
You always got to be putting plugins in for your church.
Try.
My church, Westkirk Presbyterian. My church, my pastor.
And you never do that with
Thank
hope.
you, Bob.
Never.
Thank you for pointing that out, Bob.
I just want,
What's that word? It starts with an H and looks a lot like Mac. Hypocrite. Anyway, so just kidding, Mac. I'm just messing around. No, but every day at noon right now, Pastor Michael Mudloff is teaching through the book of 1 Samuel. I get
on my radio station, and I'm the co-host with my pastor, Pastor Michael Mudloff at Westkirk Presbyterian.
Yes, on 99.3 FM. Tune in at your lunch hour. It's fantastic. But we're studying through the book of 1 Samuel. Of course, we recorded this a little bit earlier. He preached this several years ago. And it is, this time in our history really reminds me of that moment when God's people said, we want a king like all the other nations have. And God said, okay. And he gave them Saul, which was exactly who they wanted. It was the kind of guy they wanted. And Saul was, in a lot of ways, initially kind of a good king, kind you would want. He had a lot of favor from God militarily and things like that. But it didn't last. So I feel like we're kind of.
Is he better than Good King Whistless?
Maybe at first.
How does that song go? Yeah.
Isn't that Good King Whistless?
Na, 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 na,
na. Good King. Jill, I know Jill will know this. Jill, Facebook me. It's not King Whistless. It's
Wenceslas.
Wenceslas.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Mike Nieland from Blue Marble Journeys wins a prize. What does he win?
Wenceslas. Now, is that a real king?
It is. Historically, I don't know the background behind it, but yes.
Is it a biblical king, or is it more of a modern
This
day
would be a modern European king.
Good King Wenceslas. See, Jill, thank you. Oh, yep, there she got it. Wenceslas. So Google that and tell me where he's from. All right, go ahead, Mr. Prince. You were
Anyway,
talking.
my point was very small. I just feel like we're in that same position now where I think people, because what God said to Samuel at that time was, look, don't be upset, Samuel. They haven't rejected you, to the prophet Samuel. They've rejected me. And I think that God's people need to just remember that Jesus is in fact king, that he has called us to certain standards and things that we need to be taken care of. We live in a country where we can be involved in the political process, and I think we should be. But Mac, I think you and I talked about this. I disagree with the person who said that it's a binary choice or that God does not give you a binary choice. I disagree with that. We actually only have two options. We have the person running on the Democratic ticket. We have the person running in the Republican ticket. That's all we've got.
But that's a man's choice, not God's choice.
Doesn't matter. That's reality.
Chris, we actually have a third choice too, and that is to not to vote. But in that choice, it is a choice.
Sure,
and you
sure.
put the other person, in political power if you choose that.
Right, and we can write in. I understand that, but I mean, generally speaking,
Write in me.
I will write you in with Tom Coates as your VP.
Thank you.
It's always every time. But whoever becomes the Republican nominee should be held to the principles and platforms and planks of the Republican Party. And if Christians want to have a party that reflects their view, they have to be involved on the ground floor of the Republican Party. That's where we have to be involved. I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah.
I thought, well, we just need the most Christian dude at the top and it'll all work down. Well, it doesn't really matter. Because if we elected the most Christian guy in the world to be the president of representing the Democratic Party, well, if the platform of the Democratic Party is to overturn the Hyde Amendment, to make abortions more readily available with no limits and no caps, if that's the principles, if that's the foundation of the Democratic Party, it doesn't matter how godly the leader in that party is, he's held to that party. So we're electing a figurehead for a party. And the problem is, I think, that good-meaning Christians don't know that and have bought into the simple solution, which is let's just elect the most Christian-like guy to be the president of the United States and everything will be resolved. When, in fact, we need to be involved in the nitty-gritty, day in, day out principles that construct the party. That's and then, as Tamara Scott and others very wisely will add, then we must hold our elected officials accountable to that standard. It's both things. But we don't just go say, hey, this guy, Pastor Bob, is the guy that we need to be the president because he loves Jesus the most. It doesn't matter, because he's going to be held to he should be held to the standards of the Republican Party and or the Democratic Party, depending on which he represents. Or Donald Trump gets elected and he does whatever the heck he wants.
Or the other school of thought is, I'm not going to get involved in what man does man to run a greedy, godless government. I'm going to stay focused on my ministry. I'm going to stay focused on the men or women, depending on what gender you are, that God brings around me. I'm going to focus on serving my church, honoring God, and following Jesus.
So you're going to be old school then and say, we're not going to talk politics, we're not going to talk religion in our home, and neither the two shall meet.
Yeah.
And put my head in the sand and let everything else happen.
And I'm not saying I'm not like that or I agree with that. I'm just saying that's the I love Tamara Scott. She's one of my favorite people in the world. That woman is all in.
Yes.
When it comes to bringing her faith inside the public arena and the politics of it.
By the way, you can listen to Tamara Scott every Sunday at noon on 99.3 FM, Truth for Our Time, featuring Tamara Scott.
But as I mentioned the other day, when it comes down to a choice between Hillary and Trump, a sit-home, a non-vote, a write-in vote that isn't against Hillary is a vote for Hillary.
I would agree with you. I also think, though, the problem in our country is not a top-down problem, it's a bottom-up problem. The problem is the moral decay in the home, the moral decay in our cities and communities, and we are the problem. And if we don't get it fixed at that level, it doesn't matter what we do at the top level.
Mike, go ahead, Mac.
But we have to act, how do I say this? In the eyes of our secular fellow earth travelers, we are accused of not acting like a Christian then. And that's because they have no idea what a Christian is. They have this cultural Christian in their mind. And that, that's the pushback I go, that's not very Christian. Well, now you're shifting the argument over here to whether I'm a good enough Christian. Can we, because they can't go anywhere else. They have no concept of what a relationship is. They only know religion. We're coming back. We're live here on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Ten minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News. We got a full hour coming up for you. Mike Nieland from Blue Marble Journeys is here, and we're going to talk about a real cool place to go, and that is the iconic Creation Museum, which is actually could be a bus ride.
It is a bus ride.
Yeah.
And we're also combining it with the brand new Ark Encounter that opens up this summer.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about that later. And later we're going to give you an opportunity to get some information free of charge from us here at 99.3. So just as the hour goes on. And listen, I got to do this, Chris. I'm sorry.
What?
If you're only listening now and you're not going to be listening in the next hour and you want to hear some information about this, just call Frank. Call 244-0077 and give Frank your name and email or name and phone number, and we'll make sure you get some information.
Yes, if you would like to go see the Ark. Yes, the Ark has been built. And check out the... Are you going to go to... Mike, are you going to go to the Creation Museum as well?
We are going to both.
Okay, so this is a trip to see the Ark that Ken Ham's folk, Answers in Genesis folks, have built, and to see the Creation Museum. If you've always wanted to go do this, I definitely encourage you to call us at 515-244-0077. We want to give you the details on what that looks like, when the trip is, all that kind of stuff. We just need your name, your phone number, or your email, whatever is the best way to contact you. Yeah. 515-244-0077. We'll do that again later.
Well, and we're gonna figure out what to call this, because our listeners listen to us longer than most radio stations. Longer in the day, because the programming switches up. I mean, you're not going to hear, Reba McEntire song every 2 hours or something you don't want to hear. And if you've got an interest in one of our advertisers or one of our guests, the best way to do that is just give me your name and email, or name and contact information, or name and text number. I'm not going to give it to anybody, except I'll give it to Mike, and then he can get back with you.
Yeah, and he's just going to send you the information about the trip. You're not signing up for anything. He's just going to be able to send you the details of the trip, when it is, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's courtesy that we want to do for our listeners and our folks who support us, underwrite us. All right, 3:52. I've got Tim Overland on the phone. Tim, welcome into Max World. How you doing?
well, and please put me on that list. I went to the museum last year with my daughter.
Nice.
Wasn't finished at the time, but would love to go back and definitely want to see the Ark.
Hey, Tim, I think the Ark will be big enough that both you and I can get in it.
Well, only if it's built to actual scale, which I understand that it is.
It is.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
So if you were an animal and it was 2 by 2, what animal would you and Tim be?
Monkeys, Tim?
Well, I think that would go against everything that Ken Ham teaches.
That's true.
Anyway.
All right, Tim, what's going on in your world?
Well, we got the Capitol yesterday, and we didn't get the fetal body part bill did pass the House, and probably on its way to that paper shredder we call the state Senate. But so that did pass, and with some very lively and interesting debates, that got done. But the reason I was calling is I happened to get in the car. I'm actually on my way to a gathering of one of the largest gatherings of pro-life events, or pro-life people in Cleveland, Ohio, which I guess is the place most people would want to spend part of their spring break. But I got in the car as we head on this trip, and I hear you guys talking about, voting and all that kind of stuff. And as I told Frank when he answered, I'm going to have to disagree with him that on a couple fronts. One, me not voting for P.T. Barnum does not mean I'm voting for Hillary. The candidates need to earn my vote. They can't just assume my vote. If I vote for somebody else, that also means Hillary doesn't get my vote. So that's one argument I hear a lot, and I'm not a fan of. But I also believe that if we do vote for the Sideshow Act, that we're probably not going to get much better than what we would with Hillary. In fact, Mr. Trump likes to argue that he has, let me back that up. We don't know Mr. Trump's record because he hasn't been a politician. But what I say, and I think it's biblical, is that we can figure out where his heart is by where his treasure is. And while some of these guys have been busy fighting for these things that we say and that he supposedly now believes, he's been writing big, fat, or dare I say, huge checks to the opponents and the people that our guys have been fighting. So I might disagree that, anybody but Hillary. I mean, Hillary is a horrible option, but I don't know that he's a much better option.
Yeah, it's something, especially, and I don't know if I'm an evangelical or not. Am I an evangelical? I don't. That word that's kind of like Christian. I'm not. I follow Jesus. That's what I do.
Do you evangelize?
You're a disciple.
All right, I'm a disciple. But, Trump likes to use the term I'm an evangelical. Evangelicals love me. I'm a Christian. Everybody loves me. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And for those of us who are blessed enough to have the gift of the Holy Spirit, it's kind of obvious, what's really going on here. And there's a lot of those people that don't want to vote for him, and they don't want Hillary, and they don't know what to do.
Well, and I think Tim makes a really good point when he quotes the scripture, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. I mean, Donald Trump has definitely spent a lot of money on a lot of different things. So the one thing I know is not necessarily what he's for, because I don't think he's for anything consistently. He's for winning. He's for getting people to like him. He's for getting people on his side. That's what he does with his money. Now, there's biblical mandate to actually do that with your money. That you should use your money to make friends and win friends and influence people. There's biblical mandate to use your money to that end. And I think Donald Trump does that. But he does it with no conviction. He doesn't do it with any principles, as far as I can tell.
And then the difference is he does it for Donald Trump, not for the glory of God.
Right. Or for the advancement of a principle. Now, I could vote for a non-believer who stands for things that I think are important. You don't have to believe in Jesus to think that killing babies is wrong.
Yeah,
I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that you have to believe in Jesus to understand that our country is in an economic crisis and our debt is spiraling out of control, and just taxing the people who make the money in this country, that's not going to fix the problem. You don't have to follow Jesus to know those things.
All right, Timmy, thanks. Travel safe. I want to hear about your trip when you get back. Mike Nieland is here from BlueMarbleJourneys.com. We're going to talk about some cool places to travel to, including the Ark and Creation Museum bus trip.
That's right.
Which is coming up in August. And there's seats available, and we want to tell you about that.
Yeah, so all you got to do if you want to go see the Ark live and in person, this is a life-size replica of the Ark. You can call us at 515-244-0077, and we'll get you all the details about the trip and how you can sign up. Mike Nieland with Blue Marble Journeys is the one taking you on that trip. You'll also be able to go to the Creation Museum there in, where is that?
That is in Petersburg, Kentucky, right across the river from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, nice. I know. Nice. And there's some other special stuff here when you get this information on this trip, details about the trip. If you call us at 515-244-0077, we'll get your name and your contact information and send it out.
Coming back next hour, is Jesus calling you to take a call, to take a will, to do something for him, knowing that you're going to have opposition? Or do you think if you have opposition, that's God's way of saying don't do it? We're going to talk about that in Corinthians, and you and I will figure this out next hour, live here on The Truth.